Hello everybody and welcome back to another tactical analysis video. My name is Silvokiji and this is TheZoneGamingGo. Now One Piece Burning Blood has a ton of mechanics, a ton of defensive mechanics, a ton of offensive mechanics, and one such mechanic is the giant transformation. Only 6 characters in this game have giant transformations: Sengoku, Mariah, Luffy 3K, Enel, Frankie, and Drake. Those are the only characters that have giant awakening forms. Of course, I believe half of them do it one way and half of them do it another way. And what I mean by that, I mean half of them have ultimates and half of them don't. So what I'm going to go over this with you, the reason I'm going to go over this with you is because a lot of people use giant characters as kind of like a ultimate on its own, which it really should be considered as a resource. If you remember Unity Assisting, or hopefully you know what Unity Assist is, in this game, how your partner can actually save your life or save you from getting hurt, that's like after you get hit. But you can utilize the giant awakening as kind of like a burst, because in awakening, just a second here. When you're in your awakening form in this game, you take straight armor damage. It's not Logi guard, it's not any of that other crap. You don't slow down, you attack. Remember that. So people are going to get hurt from just simply challenging you in all sorts of ways. Unless they ult you, then yeah, you're going to get hurt a lot. But you're still going to take armor damage. So remember that. So when you're attacking, especially when someone's about to hurt you, like if I'm about to actually just like punch this guy, let me see if I can do this real quick. Heard the HUD noise. And just like that, punish. And you can do stuff like that for all the giant character awakenings, and that's usually how you utilize that ability. It's like a little burst effect. So what I actually want to go over with you is the pros and cons, or the disadvantages and the advantages of a giant character. The advantages of a giant character is the fact that, of course, they take armor damage. They can use their move as a burst, and not only that, but all their attacks will deal chip damage on block. So I made a video about how to chip, and I mentioned before that giant characters don't actually have to press the ability button. That is true. All these giant awakenings go through block. So disadvantage of a giant character is that some are extremely slow and very difficult to catch up with people. And on the other end, they have a large size, so they have a large hitbox. Now, I bet most of the time you guys transform into the middle of the arena, and your opponent is nowhere to be found. If you do that, don't. Stop doing that. Do not do that unless you really need to. If you're about to die, okay, you can do it. You know, save your life or something like that. But don't ever do that, because you're just going to take up time to walk up there. You don't have that much time when you're awakening, and you don't want to just be wasting your time chasing your opponent half across the map to no avail, especially against characters like Toshiro and Mihawk, who have special movements that can get out of stuff like that. Now, I mentioned before that giants have many other purposes, like being used as a Unity Assist, what I actually call Giant Burst. But something I want to talk about here is that there are 2 different types of giant characters. There are giant characters like Sengoku that go into their awakening first, before going into their ultimate. I mean, into their giant form. And there's characters like Luffy who go straight into their giant form and gain an ultimate while they're in this form. Now, this is going to be kind of a long video because I'm going to actually demonstrate you every single one of these giant characters awakening. So I'm going to tell you this right now. If you want to leave, you can leave. If you don't, you don't. But before that, because I have something else to say, when should you actually use their giant character awakenings? And that's the question I should have probably answered at the beginning. Walls. Walls are very good. Stuns, using traps, all that utilization can be really good. Some of these giant characters can actually do really good if they're just like this close in a wall combo or something like that. And don't expect to just beat your opponent the living crap out of. That was a bad sentence. Don't expect to beat the living crap out of your opponent in your giant form, even in the corner, because anything can happen. So, let's go over. Sengoku goes into his awakening first, and then he goes into his ultimate, which is the Buddha. Now, in the Buddha form, Sengoku only has 3 moves. Look at how wide he is as a character. He's kind of sluggish, but in terms of everybody, he actually looks really slim. I've never noticed how slim this guy was. Okay, so his first attack is like a double punch. Ooh, it's a triple punch, actually. And look how much damage it does. Look how much damage giant characters deal. Okay, and then we have his unique button here. Just damage. And then his guard, which is unblockable. And it can be comboed with his other move. Okay, let's go Gekko Mariah. Let's actually switch out Drake so we won't actually kill him. Hopefully I won't kill Enel with this character. But Gekko Mariah is another one of those characters that uses his Giant Awakening as an ultimate. Of course, you get the beautiful lines when the character's about to die. So, Gekko Mirai in his awakening is Shadow Asgard, as Sengoku was the Buddha. Now, in Shadow Asgard mode, Gekko Mirai is really wide. And actually, you know, oddly enough, he's actually faster in his Giant Awakening than he is in his regular form. I know, it's stupid. But this is his basic attack. Okay, I don't want to actually kill... Can I switch out in Frankie? That's Black Box. Oh no! I'm about to waste my move. Okay, this is my guard. Ah! Okay, poor lizard. Okay, something else to mention, that Gekko Mirai can actually special movement in his awakening. So his special movement is a teleport from behind. I have done a character guide video on Gekko Mirai, so you want more information about Gekko Mirai, you can always check the character guide video. Okay, here comes Luffy. Okay, while Luffy is in Gear 4, his attack is... And then his unique... Oh, I gotta get this man up. And then his guard. Unblockable. Most guard moves are unblockable. And knocks you on the other side of the field for some stupid reason. I don't understand why that move does that, but you know, whatever. Also, Luffy 3K has Conqueror's Haki and Haki. While he's in this form, this is all automatic Haki, by the way. So he can still use Conqueror's Haki. So he can actually do combos and stuff while he's in his awakening. Another thing I should probably mention too is that while he's in Gear 4 mode, he has a special movement. Really useful. Now, I don't want to kill anybody characters, but just know that this man has an ultimate. I'm not going to demonstrate it. If you want to know what it looks like, you can always just look at the character guide video for Luffy 3K. Okay, good. Ooh, that was going to reach. Okay, next up is Frankie. Now, if Frankie goes his awakening, he turns into Frankie Shogun. This guy does the most amount of chip damage out of any giant character in this game. If you want to know more about Frankie, I did a guide with him already. Look at that little Luffy picture. That's what Luffy looks like every time Frank goes for a Shogun. Okay, so Frankie's attack move is as such. Jiro's left. His unique move is, I call it, the turnaround, but it's also called Watch Your Step. And his circle is a long-range projectile. That's a block. Alright, Nat, he has an ultimate, which I'm about to kill Luffy with. If I get up in time... There we go. Okay, next up is Nell. Okay, when Nell goes into his awakening, he goes straight into his giant form as well. So it's 3 characters that go straight into the giant form and 3 characters that actually go into the awakening first. So while he's in this form, he is of course, a wide character. His attack is this. And then his unique move, I believe it's like a kind of trip. And in his circle, it's a guard break. Another thing about Nell that I should also mention is that he can still use his ability, which is a Logi type character. So if you do hit him, you can make it's kind of weird. He's the only Logi giant character in this game. And of course his ultimate. This move actually has a decent bit of range, so you don't have to actually be really close to your opponent to use it. Okay, now last giant character I need to speak about is Drake. Drake is a character that has to go to his awakening first and then his giant transformation. Now, believe it or not, Drake is the strongest giant character in this game. I mean strongest, not like in as being good. He's a 2,000-point character, but he has the strongest giant awakening. Now, in his giant awakening, he's actually probably one of the fastest, to be honest. His attack is basically a headbutt. It's a running headbutt that causes stagger upon hit. His triangle move or unique move is a tail whip that causes a very big knock up on hit. And then let's talk about his guard. It is super slow, should only be done in the corner, but it does so much. It is the strongest move out of any giant character that they have, except for the ultimates. So that's basically it. That's how we're going to end this video here, just talking to you a little bit about how giant characters work. Now, I'm not going to go into the super deep strategy of Giant Awakening. Just know when using a giant character, be very careful. be close to your opponent, use them as a burst, use it as a like sword unity assist, you want to call it that. Use it in a way that makes your opponent think that you're not going to use it. So that way you can kind of be tricking your opponent the whole time. So as you play as a giant character, or play as a character that can go into giant form, I mean, make sure you utilize that resource, because you do have one. It is not just a awakening, it is a resource. So remember that. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of the character guides, tactical analysis videos, and see you next time. And keep playing One Piece Burning Blood.